everyone, your friendly neighborhood cat is back with another Sims 4 house build. Today we are working on the Burrow, aka Ron Weasley's residence. I'm so sorry that I put a teaser out for this and showed you guys the picture of it so early. I think I actually showed that on like September 20th, and now I'm just getting around to uploading it today. The reason why that happened is I ended up getting... At first they thought it was bronchitis, and then they thought it was pneumonia, and now they're not really sure what it is. They think it might even be whooping cough, which, like, I get vaccinated. I always get my vaccinations. I think I missed a flu shot once, and, like, that's just who I am. That's just what I do. So it doesn't really make sense why I would have whooping cough. But they never actually called me back for the results, and they said if the results were positive, they just wouldn't call me, which is kind of weird. But anyways, that's what happened. But yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to turn this into a series or not. I did have a lot of fun building this house, but there is on the gallery now, I think I'll leave a link to her build down below, but there's a literally stunning build of Hagrids Hut on the gallery. It's so incredible. Like, I could never even attempt to do something, and if I did, it probably won't be as good. But yeah, it's a really great Hagrid's Hut build, and there's a really amazing, incredible Hogwarts build on the gallery. So I don't think I'll ever attempt things like that. Or even Private Drive. There's also another really good Private Drive build. Maybe I'll link all those down below for you guys. So I don't know if I'll ever attempt those, but this one, the one on the gallery wasn't what I exactly wanted it to be. So I decided to just make one for myself, and of course I wanted to play this in my Sims game. So yeah, that's kind of what I decided on doing. Bedrooms wise, I think, like, there's, like, 6 floors in the normal build, like, in the original Weasley build. I could have got that if I had used basements and just kind of sunk it in, but I didn't really want to do that, I'm gonna be honest, because, like, on the first floor is Ginny's room. It's only supposed to be Ginny's room on the first floor. Then the second floor is Fred and George's room and Percy's room, which overlooks, like, the garden area. So what I ended up doing instead, you'll see me get there eventually, but I do it a little bit differently. And then, of course, on, like, the third floor is Bill and Charlie's room, which, even though, like, obviously they're not together or anything because they're cousins, or are they? I don't know if they're cousins or siblings. I never really paid attention to them too much in the book, I'm gonna be honest. But I made one room instead of 2 separate rooms, so there's, like, a double bedroom on that floor instead. I did that because you can't have that many Sims anyway in The Sims 4, so I thought it would be more beneficial to have a double bedroom instead of just having one bedroom that will never get used. So that's why I did that. And then on the 4th floor is supposed to be Arthur and Molly's room. The 5th floor is supposed to be Ron's room, and the 6th floor is supposed to be the attic. But because you can't have 6 floors, I did change it up a bit. So I will explain as I go with this one. But yeah, so that is going to be the thought process. I hope nobody comments and gets mad at me for doing it a little bit differently. The build of the Burrow on the gallery is pretty cool too. I'm not gonna lie, I really like it. It was a little bit too crowded for me, and for something that I wanted to play, I needed to make it less crowded. So that is why I chose to build my own. If I do find things that I've seen on the gallery before, I never just, I guess, I don't know how to explain it. I never just download it for the sake of downloading it. If I feel like, not that I could do a better job, but I could make it so that it's more of a representation of the way I feel when I watch that show kind of thing, then I do it. I played The Sims a lot in my spare time, Even though I wasn't recording because I was sick and I literally tried recording this and I just started coughing every 2 seconds, I still played The Sims. So I always play The Sims, and I do play the houses that I build. I don't just build them for the sake of building them. I think this is just a little pause. I'm not going to bother cutting this out. Yeah, so I don't just, like, build things to one-up someone or stuff like that. Like, that's just not who I am. If there's something that's, like, that I really like on the gallery, I will download it and put it in my town. Like, Hagrids Hut was a perfect example. There's also a really good build for... Oh, I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah, one thing that does kind of frustrate me is the amount of people that try to take credit for something when it wasn't their idea in the first place, which is, like, it's really frustrating, and it's just kind of, like, unfortunate. So, I don't know, like, I uploaded a picture of this to my Twitter as a safeguard to be like, hey guys, like, just in case. I knew I wouldn't be able to get it up right away because I ended up getting pneumonia, so I uploaded it to Twitter so that people would know, like, hey, like, I'm not just, like, stealing this idea from someone, because lately there's been this person, and they always will do my builds and not give me any credit for having the original idea, which is kind of upsetting, but whatever, it's their life. It's just frustrating when you have an original idea and someone rips it off and then doesn't give you credit. I'm sure if you guys have ever done anything like this before, you would know. Like, even on the gallery, it's kind of a problem. The gallery does a really good job of crediting the original person. If the person just, like, downloads the house and changes it a little bit, then you'll always know originally created by. But yeah, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't do that, which totally makes sense why they don't. But it's just a little bit, like, I guess, discouraging when someone takes your idea and doesn't give you any credit. It's been a huge issue lately on YouTube, if you watch any other YouTube things other than The Sims. But you know what? It doesn't really bother me because I'm doing this, like, I love making videos for you guys, don't get me wrong, but I'm doing this more for me and more for what I want it to look like. So yeah, that's basically my little, like, rant on when people copy each other and don't give credit. Like, I give credit to people all the time because I watch a lot of, like, the Sim Supply, and I do watch, like, Delicacy and the English Simmer, like, amazing simmers. I watch a ton of them, and even some smaller ones, and I will always credit them in my description. So if you guys ever, like, look, like, my descriptions will always have at least one person credited most times, unless it honestly is a build I just came up with, like my McDonald's build, which, if you're familiar with my channel, you will know about that because it's my most popular, most watched video. But yeah, it's just a little bit hard. Oh, I actually like Hatsy too. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But I will always credit them. And if I don't credit them, then maybe I just haven't watched their video. But feel free to comment in the section down below and be like, hey, this person did this build as well, or you should go check out their channel. And I will. I love looking at other people's creations. And oftentimes, like, I don't know everything about The Sims. I don't know everything about build mode. I will go and watch other people's and learn so much, like, just an unbelievable amount. But yeah, I wanted to get this little pond in here, so I do end up getting that in, so you can actually fish right on this lot. And it's not like it's actually an object in the game. Like, that is one of the fishing ponds that you can go fish at in the real time. But yeah, I just use, like, a debug cheat, so it's not custom content or anything. I don't use custom content unless it's, like, custom hair content, but you guys don't ever, like, notice that because I don't really post creative Sims. But yeah, so I'm just kind of putting in the trees here. Unfortunately, they aren't grown. I, like, hired a gardener for a bit and played this house for a bit to try and grow the trees, but then I just kind of gave up on it because they started making the house really dirty, and at one point Ginny was playing on, like, that little science kit, and I put that in Fred and George's room, and she went and played with that and burned down the entire room. Like, all of the objects in it were burnt down because they're so close together. So I just kind of gave up on playing it myself. But yeah, that's basically that. Another thing that I will mention, I'm going to try from now on to leave the cheats that I used, which I always use testing cheats on. I think it's called, why can't I remember this right now, but I always use testing cheats on, and then I use like the show hidden objects on cheat, and there's one more that I normally use, but I can't remember. Move objects. So I always use those cheats when I'm building. But yeah, so I just turned off I basically went to night mode, and then I deleted some of these because I found that they were just too bright, and there were too many of them. So I do get rid of some of them because it just looks a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't look the way I wanted it to, so I did end up getting rid of some of those little lanterns there. I also wanted to get one of those really big wishing wells, but it just didn't fit well. That's a little punny. Something else that I didn't do their broom cupboard or broom shed outside. I just didn't end up doing that. And I also did not fill the garage with any items. Like, if you guys are familiar with where this is from, which is Harry Potter, basically, in the garage outside is where Arthur keeps all of like his Muggle artifacts. So I didn't really put it. I could have done that, but I just honestly, like, there wasn't really a point because you won't be able to see it, and it would have taken me a long time for something that nobody's ever gonna see the way the roof is sitting there. So yeah. So now I think we start working on Ginny's bedroom. I think I was like tossed between doing this room as Ginny's bedroom or using the bigger one, which I do end up using just this one. I do switch around, you'll see me do that, but I chose this one. It just feels a little bit more cramped and stuff, which is nice. And then you have a more open bathroom, which is good when you have this many Sims. But I do get quite a bit of stuff in there. When I was playing this house for that little bit, just to make sure everything worked, I'm yawning. I always do this to you guys. But when I was playing this for a bit to show you guys, or not to show you guys, to make sure everything worked for you guys, there actually like spawned a monster underneath the bed, which I had no idea that the game did that. So it must be a new update that I didn't realize existed. I'm assuming it was probably around the time that the kids expansion pack, or I can't remember what it's called, was launched, but I was kind of surprised and a little blown away because I never downloaded that. There's actually 3, I think, expansion packs that I don't have. I can't remember them off the top of my head. I think it's like backyard stuff and the kids one, obviously, and I can't remember the other one, so I'm sure it will come to me eventually. Maybe, or not back. Maybe I don't have backyard and outdoor living. I don't know. I have perfect patio. I know that. But yeah, so I do have a couple expansion packs that I never bought. Sometimes when I don't really like them, I just don't really feel like spending money on them. And I'll usually just download something on my Xbox or something like that. Yeah. So now we move on to the bathroom, which I do flip-flop between Ginny's room and the bathroom to see if I like it better. This is when I start playing around with that idea. But there's just too much room when I did this as Ginny's bedroom, and it just didn't look the way I wanted it to. Plus, her bedroom is supposed to overlook the orchard, so at least if I put it in the other space, it would overlook the orchard, and I wouldn't have to do too much creative license to get that to work the way it's supposed to. And yeah, just kind of putting up some mirrors in the bathroom, trying to make everything look a little bit more mismatched. I think I end up using a different mirror because I don't like the look of that, which, I mean, it looks fine looking at it now, but sometimes when I'm in the moment building, I'm like, no, that doesn't look good. I need to change that. So that's probably what I ended up doing there. And yeah, I get a couple towel holders on the walls. It's really hard to play in this house because everything's so tall and not very wide, so looking at the different floors is just, it's just really hard, I'm gonna be honest. That's the one thing I disliked about this, but I mean, you can always make the rooms bigger if you wanted or whatever. Like, feel free to edit this and then send me pictures over Twitter. I love using Twitter. I love talking to you guys. Yeah, when my McDonald's build was kind of blowing up there, people would comment to me on Twitter, and it was so cool getting to meet people from different areas. So, but, yeah. I'm sure it's, like, equally as frustrating for people like James Turner and the English Simmer when their ideas get ripped off and nobody credits them. But, like, someone accused me of not crediting James Turner in one of my builds, and my build was actually, like, posted before his, or, I don't know. Or maybe it was posted after, but mine was just different, but I actually didn't see his Barbie house build when I posted mine, and he got, like, really mean in the comments, which I can understand. I can fully understand when people get, like, really fired up over that kind of stuff, because it's really upsetting to have your idea stolen, and I'm glad that people's, like, audiences stand up for them in that sense, because it really does suck. Like, that's just the easiest way to put it. It's really, really unfortunate, and hopefully it makes that person lose credibility. I will never, ever not credit someone if I got an idea from them. Like, if you guys watch Graveyard Girl, she just had an issue with this too. She read this BuzzFeed article, credited BuzzFeed, so technically she credited the wrong person, not knowing that the other person was credited in the BuzzFeed article that she read. So, yeah, it felt like she was kind of, like, ripping her off, but it wasn't that at all. Like, she is the nicest person, which I'm sure you'd know if you watched her, but yeah, it's just, like, I don't know, just really, really disappointing. That's the only way that I can put it. But yeah, putting that little stand in there, that little chemistry stand, if you've read the book, and I don't know actually if this is highlighted in the movies, but a lot of the times what would happen is you'd hear explosions, which Percy didn't really like because he liked the quiet. So oftentimes he'd hear explosions coming from their bedroom. But yeah, so right now we're working on Bill and Charlie's room. But of course this is only for one person, because you can't have every single person in The Sims anyway. Like, you can only have up to 8 Sims. So that's why I did it the way I did it. And these are supposed to be on separate floors, but again, you can't have 6 floors. So this floor actually has 3 bedrooms and a bathroom, which is pretty surprising for how small this house is. I feel like the micro living challenge really got me ready for this. So, but yeah, one piece of advice I can give is, as soon as you're done building something, even if you don't record it, just, like, upload that photo to Twitter, just so people know that you're not ripping someone off, because it would really suck to be accused of that, and actually not have done that. I mean, it's happened to me once, like I was saying with the Barbie house build, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the idea. And yeah, this cute little bathroom up here, I love these tiles. Now, I'm sure a lot of people think they're really ugly, but I love them. Especially the tiles in the room next to this, not necessarily these tiles, but when I lived in Mexico, the tiles on the floor looked just like this. So, I love them. But, I think the toilet does snap through the wall a little bit, but I didn't really care, I'm gonna be honest. This build probably took me in total, I don't even know how many hours, but it would have taken me even longer too if you guys had watched the process of me just trying to, basically trying to get the layout of the house. That's why I didn't show it in the beginning. I just kind of skipped ahead of that. But yeah, so that's always fun. I just got a notification on my iPad, actually, that The Sims just uploaded a video, The Sims 4 City Living official neighborhoods trailer. I feel like that was already released a little while ago, and I also watched another trailer, and it was for a bunch of expansion packs coming out, so that's exciting. Back to the task at hand. I was going to lift this up. I actually saw it in one of James Turner's builds. I'll link the video down below. And yeah, he ends up making that into an attic, which I thought, or not an attic, but I wanted that to be Ron's bedroom floating. So originally that's what I was going to do, and then I changed my mind because it just didn't look right to the aesthetic of the house. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so many notifications. I need to mute my iPad. But yeah, so it just didn't fit the aesthetic of the house. What normally would have happened is there would have been like Arthur and Molly's room, and then above them is Ron's room, and then there's a separate area in the attic, like another room above him, which is the attic. So we didn't end up doing that. I just ended up making that small little room next to Arthur and Molly's room, Ron's room, and I threw in another fireplace, which I wish I put in more fireplaces when doing this, because there's so many like fireplace chimney stacks coming out of the house, but whatever. Yeah, so still kind of adding some more room. The best part about this house is if you add a couple extra squares, it doesn't change the aesthetic of the house. It actually makes it better, in my opinion. So that's what I was doing. I really wanted it to look like this house was just thrown together on the outside, like constantly they'd be adding new pieces, taking pieces away. So yeah, I feel like I did a good job doing that. Like, I'm totally tooting my own horn here, but I don't really care. Another little pause here. I was probably just looking up photos and then a cutaway scene, so I probably stopped filming for a bit and took a break. I think I did this in a couple days. I originally built this build, and then the file, I stepped on one of my memory cards because I'm an idiot, and I left it on the ground thinking, oh, I'll clean it up tomorrow, and then midway through the night, I stepped on it, and it broke in half, so I lost so many different things. Like, I lost all my banished saves, and I lost this original build, so this is actually my second time building it, and I like the way it turned out better. The only thing is, I wish I had saved pictures of the first build, like of the living room, because I liked the living room in the last one better, I think, but then again, I don't really know, because maybe I'm just like picturing it differently, but yeah, so that's kind of exciting. I got a lot of stuff in here. You can use that bed, which I've learned. Also watching that James Turner video, or the Sims Supply video, sorry, he has like a bunch of different channels, so I always call him something different, and makes it really confusing when I go to cite my sources. But yeah, he did this apartment complex build, and it was so cool, and I literally have never learned so much in one video than watching that video. So if you guys want to learn a lot of stuff, he does have some like tips and tricks videos, which you can go check out. I'll leave a link to his channel, and then also leave a link to that complex video where you guys can learn how to do attics or lofts. I think he calls them lofts in his, so that's so fun and exciting. Yeah, just trying to throw in some plants. I'm surprised I haven't coughed yet in this video, because I have been coughing the past couple days so bad. Just had to take like a drink there. Yeah, when I tried to originally record this video, I literally every 2 seconds I coughed, so I was like, oh, I'm sick, but I can just stay home and do this video. But one thing I am proud of, I am very proud that I got that fireplace in there. Originally there was gonna be like a little fridge area, which I don't remember where I ended up putting the fridge, but hopefully I get the fridge in there. Like, I have a feeling I do, and there was, like, a bathroom, so there's 2 extra little rooms, but you have to have the Flu network if you're gonna do this build. Like, that is a necessity. And then I guess I do kind of like this room, with all those little pictures on the walls, but that's actually really fun, and it looks kind of cool and interesting. Yeah, this is a really fun house to play in, but I do recommend making the rooms bigger or something, so that you can see them better when you're that high off the ground. And this definitely isn't a base game build. I could potentially like do this as a base game build and then just upload it on the gallery, but I definitely wouldn't be doing it for my YouTube channel. That is like way too much talking for a couple of videos, but I'm just going in, throwing in some finishing touches in here because I actually made this bottom floor taller sometime. I can't remember when I was doing that. But yeah, I made it taller so that it looked different on the outside, and yeah, kind of just still throwing in some stuff. I love those tables from the movie night. I used so many items from movie night in this build. They fit so well. Yeah, just throwing in some more clutter. This is when I figure out that I don't have a fridge, I think. Yeah, because this is when I make room for the fridge and just kind of like force it in there somewhere. Yeah, I end up putting it over here. So I do get a fridge in there, thank goodness. Honestly, when I play this build, I'll probably just take out that big fireplace and then use those two little squares of walls to put more stuff for the kitchen, because I like the look of that better, and the fireplace doesn't really serve a purpose other than being like a makeshift flue network. Of course, got the garden gnomes in there for those of you that have read the book. I don't think this is in the movie at all, but they have like garden gnomes everywhere. Like, not garden gnomes, I guess, like actual gnomes. Like, there's gnomes in the garden, like they inhabit the garden, and that's a well-known fact. So yeah, that's why there's so many little gnomes. I love my favorite gnome is the one with the little like pool floaty, which is right next to the pool, or not the pool, right next to the pond over there. But yeah, throwing in some more leaves just to make it blend a little bit easier. And I think I color the driveway, like I make a little driveway area, which looked kind of neat. A little bit neat. You could easily put like a little patio furniture in there too. Yeah, this is when I add in the driveway, or make a little driveway, which I liked the look of, and I color in that. Just throw some gravel in too, so there's still like a nice defined path, and then put some more bushes in here to give you just a little bit more to look at. I wish, I don't know if I did, but I wish I put more bushes over in to the right there, just a tiny bit. But, yawning again. Playing around with it some more, just making sure that it looks exactly the way that I want it to. I think we're almost in the screenshots though, which the screenshots are pretty cool actually. Yeah, that's basically everything for this build. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and like always, I will see you guys all next time. Bye, guys! Hey everyone, your friendly neighborhood cat is back with another Sims 4 house building video. Today we are actually more of doing a renovation of one of my lots that is already on the Sims 4 gallery. I did this, I want to say, a year ago, and there were